Sunday morning, I received a phone call from my middle daughter. Abba, that's what she calls me. She said, I'm kind of freaked out. It turns out that I walked by the unexploded pressure cooker bomb last night before it was discovered. I walked right by it. Now, truthfully, I'm usually a little hesitant to talk about events in the life of my family. And I'm doing so now because I'm increasingly convinced that if we're willing to talk from a personal place as opposed to theoretical places, we might get better responses to some of the threats we do face in the world, and also to being honest about when those threats are not quite as real as some people would want us to believe. In fact, I didn't even want to talk about this event at all because it just seems there's a waterfall of words that is cascading upon us in which it's so clear to everyone exactly what the response would be. And I don't want to add to that. I don't want to be even hopefully a saner version of what we're getting from either of the candidates, leading candidates who are running for president of the United States, who in responding to this weekend's events in New York and New Jersey don't seem to practice what the bombs practice, that is, making no distinction between race or ethnicity or religion in who they kill or maim. And yet in their responses, they seek each in their own way to divide and polarize at precisely the moment we need to be together. So I'm hoping that by going personal, maybe I can transcend that. I know that when Donald Trump immediately says it was a bomb before anyone knows that, and then goes on to say that we would all be safer if we were less, not we, our law enforcement authorities were less fearful of racial profiling of people from, quote, over there, we would all be safer. There's not a lot of evidence about that. And some would say they're already racial profiling too much. It's not the point. That response just stirs fear and anger when we need vigilance and compassion. And then Hillary Clinton lashes out that Trump is, quote, a recruiting sergeant for the terrorists who gives aid and comfort to our enemies. Really? Truthfully, I find both responses somewhere between grotesque and stupid. Maybe that's just me. But here's what I know. When we address real threats with polarizing political rhetoric, none of us are safer. So my response to my daughter was that I understand why she was freaked out. It is pretty freaky to walk by an unexploded bomb. On the other hand, I reminded her of a couple of things. Number one, she did walk by unharmed. Number two, that actually that particular bomb never caused any harm to anybody. Doesn't mean it's not real, but keep it in perspective. And that see the pattern of things as having gone through one freaky moment, she has a really low likelihood of ever having to go through that again. So I told my daughter that while her fears are real and that it is weird, I wanted to also remind her that living in light of our fears is rarely the best way to go. There are real dangers and real threats in this world. And they are inspired by particular belief systems. There's no question about it. But it's also true that we have far more friends and allies inspired by those same belief systems than we do enemies. It's also true that we, and this is the most important part, that when we live in fear and make decisions primarily guided by fear, they're rarely the best decisions we make. And maybe most important of all, that we do not here in America live in on a battlefield. There are real dangers in this world, and there are real dangers here at home, and we must confront them. But that is not the same as living on an active battlefield. And I hope that that combination of vigilance without pot-stirring fear and confusing the real battlefields that people do live on in other parts of the world with the relative safety and security of the United States of America, I hope whoever leads our country will remember those things before they say anything into a microphone after any of us have been attacked.